Over the years, J.K. Rowling has shown that she basically believes what the Labour Party in Britain believes. I mean, like pretty much on 90% of the issues, but this one issue seems to be a sticking point and makes her a pariah amongst left-leaning people, not only in Britain, but just around the world. And this latest article is coming from Deadline. J.K. Rowling says she would happily do prison time over her transgender views. Scrolling down into the article, it talks a little bit more about this. Harry Potter creator J.K. Rowling has revealed that she would happily do prison time over her views on transgender women. Rowling appeared to be responding to a story in the Mail on Sunday, which reported that a Labour government in Britain could make gender identity attacks a criminal offense. And I got that article pulled up from the Daily Mail, and this is what it says. Deliberately calling someone by the wrong gender pronouns may land you in jail for 2 years under Labour. Deliberately calling someone by the wrong gender pronouns could become a hate crime punishable by imprisonment under Labour government, the Mail on Sunday can reveal. Vowing to toughen up the sentencing guidelines for abuse and violence targeted at trans people, Labour would make attacks motivated by hatred of the victim's gender identity into aggravated offense. This would bring transphobic abuse into line with the assault and harassment motivated by hatred on the grounds of race or religion, which are punishable by up to 2 years in prison. And it's actually much worse than just simply not calling them by their preferred pronouns, because under these new guidelines too, a doctor who doesn't actually agree with the person's non-medical expertise diagnosis of themselves would actually be considered a hate crime. Because if a person goes to a doctor and says like, hey, I'm transgender, give me hormones. If the doctor says, I don't agree with that, or let's run some tests, or I doubt that, or anything like that, the doctor could be committing a crime under these laws. So in other words, a person says, doctor, I'm transgender, give me hormones or give me a prescription or whatever. The doctor just has to be like, yep, here you go. I can't say anything otherwise. You're apparently the medical expert in this field, so you can do what you want. And I'm just here to just write the prescription for you. I mean, that's pretty much not a good situation to be in. I mean, we should allow at least doctors to give their medical expertise, but apparently you can't do that under UK laws, at least UK laws if Labour was in charge. But let's jump back into this article. Critics told the newspaper that it could result in prison sentences for those who refuse to use transgender person pronouns. And this is what J.K. Rowling said about it when she was asked, I'll happily do 2 years if the alternative is compelled speech and forced denial of the reality and importance of sex, Rowling said on X, the social network formerly known as Twitter. And I have those posts because this is something that she did. This is what her response was to that Daily Mail article, was this picture that came out like a few years ago or something like that. And it says, repeat after us, trans women are women. And Rowling just says no. So yeah, she was asked about it from this vote Labour, get 2 years stretch, and yeah, her response was, I'll happily do 2 years if the alternative is compelled speech and forced denial of the reality and importance of sex. Bring on the court case, I say. It'll be more fun than I've ever had on the red carpet. I could probably agree with that, because the red carpet events, I don't know, just looking at them, they seem like they'd be kind of boring and uptight. I wouldn't want to have to deal with that, but yeah, whatever. Some people like it. They're called celebrities, and I don't know, other people with no lives seem to like that. Rowling has become an advocate for biological women's rights amid the fraught trans debate. Her posts appear to suggest that she is willing to commit a crime in her desire for freedom of expression. And I actually think everyone should be willing to commit a crime in the desire for freedom of expression and freedom of speech. That should be a fundamental right that everyone agrees with, but some people are not in favor of such a thing or whatever. They only agree with, they only think freedom of speech applies to stuff that they personally like. Never mind the fact that they could be wrong. So it might just perpetuate in a society where you can only say what is approved is not the best way if you're trying to find the truth and reality. It's just a path to destruction. Let's just leave it at that. It's a dangerous precedent to get on, so we shouldn't even try to entertain such ideas. But weak people are like that. They don't want to hear any criticism. Like me personally, if I'm a guy, if a person said I was a woman and referred to me as she, it's like, okay, I don't care. Because I'm a guy. I know I'm a guy. I don't need you to validate me. And if they're just doing that maliciously just to try to insult me, it's like, all right, I won't associate with them. I don't care what they have to say about it, because it literally has no impact on my life. If people are so distraught at the idea that people are going to call them names as they perceive it, then maybe there is some credibility to the idea that they have a mental health issue and it's not being treated in the proper way. So I don't know. I mean, that's just a theory, I guess. Apparently that is a hateful theory to throw out there, but I don't know. Some people are floating that around, including a lot of medical professionals, a lot of people who have detransitioned, that Rowling has tried to amplify their voices. But I don't know, ignore that and just kind of push this the narrative that, like, no, if you say anything besides the approved narrative, then you're going to go to jail. Well, we'll just see what happens with society if things go that way. But I really doubt this is going to actually go through. And I mean, if it does, I mean, Rowling, there's no way she would actually go to prison. I mean, at the very least, she could always leave the country. She has houses all over the world. I'm sure she would be fine. But yeah, I mean, just kind of going back to my original point, I mean, there are certain people that are so ideologically zealous in their beliefs that you can't actually criticize them on anything. Like, yeah, you could agree with them on every other issue, but as soon as you step out of lines, I mean, they'll just try to destroy you just like you're anyone else. So steer clear of those type of people. And if you do fall into that camp, maybe just kind of question, like, would you ever find yourself the victim of them? And most likely you will in some way, shape, or form. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. And if you like this video, make sure you click that like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with the latest news. Thank you.